Us for today's webinar, Succeeding in Business and Building a Deep TMS Center of Excellence. I'm Ross Mitchell from the Brainsway marketing team, and I'd like to introduce our speakers, Scott Theaman and Dr. Karan Narwal of Beyond Marketing. Beyond Marketing is one of Brainsway's partner agencies that empowers deep TMS clinics through patient lead generation, nurturing, conversion campaigns, and lead management training. Scott is the CEO and founder of Beyond Marketing and has consulted with 350 plus companies and individuals on business growth and marketing since 2017. He's been featured in HMP Global, Disrupt Magazine, and ABC. His company has helped over 10,000 patients discover alternative mental health treatment and has a published data study of over $2 million in marketing spend. Dr. Narwal helps providers follow best practices when it comes to enrolling, converting, and retention strategies. He currently serves as a director at an intensive outpatient treatment center in Tampa, Florida, and has had experience as a former clinic owner, operator, and executive with treating over 500 plus patients and 90+% response rates and sustainable growth year after year. Today, they'll be walking through strategies to fully maximize your lead generation, improve your team's capabilities to increase patient retention and compliance, and improve efficiency in your clinic through using a customer relationship management tool. We'll have time at the end for questions, which you can submit via the chat box, and you'll receive the recording of this webinar automatically via email shortly after we conclude. Now I'll hand it over to our presenters.
Thank you, Ross. I love the energy in the introduction and appreciate it. If you guys can hear me, please let me know in the chat box. And where are you from? Where are you tuning in from? Just type the name of the city and the state. Let me know that I'm not just talking to a screen today. Alicia from Orem, Utah, I believe. Coleman, Alabama. Hello, welcome. Inglewood, New Jersey. Ashley, I'm from Wayne, New Jersey originally. Thank you guys for participating and being here. I am going to share my screen. Bear with me. I'm used to Zoom. We're on Demio.
Love it. New Mexico, Illinois, Alabama. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. So here's how this is going to go today, guys. I'm going to start off the presentation. Karan's going to take the middle, and then I'm going to end it. Today's presentation is called Succeeding in Business and Building a Center of Excellence, a practical way to help more patients make more money and have more fun. So for those of you guys who are familiar with Tony Robbins, I was just telling Dr. Karan and Ross, I just went to the Leadership Academy seminar. It was all digital, all online. We hosted a watch party. And one of the things that stood out to me that I want to share with you and kind of set the frame for this presentation is they talked about 3 mandates of leadership. The first mandate of leadership is see it how it is. Don't see it worse than it is. Just see it how it is. Your business, your situation, your life, anything. The second mandate is see it better than it is. Okay, I'm at point A, but I see point B, and this is where I want to go. And then mandate number 3 is make it the way you see it. So in today's presentation, I'm going to give you guys, and so is Karan, a lot of practical and tactical things that you can literally start to implement in your business right now. So I want you to take this in through that perspective and where you want to go. And then what can you start to do right now? Make it the way you see it. And hopefully some of the tools that we share with you today are going to help you get there a lot quicker. Sounds good? All right. Whoa. Okay. Sorry. Like I said, I'm used to Zoom, so bear with me just a little bit. So first, you may be wondering, is this webinar worth my time? I go to a lot of webinars. Brainsway has them all the time. And just ask our amazing Brainsway family. Some noteworthy people from here that I want to recognize: Bright Horizons Psychiatry, TMS Northwest, Optimum TMS, Beaumont Psychiatric. People that we've worked with for many, many years that have, I've seen some of these clinics go from one chair, one location to multiple states, multiple chairs, multiple providers, and from under $1 million in revenue to multiple millions of dollars in revenue. And obviously that means helping a lot of people. Also, we'll go through some of these specific success stories today and how they're relevant to what we're going to be sharing. But if you want to check us out, go to beyondmarketing.net, and we have about 25 videos and then some. And as Ross alluded to, one of the most important things is data. And there's qualitative and there's quantitative. And I'm a big believer in the data. So in April, we came out with a data study. We've been collecting all this data since I started the company in 2017. And I'm going to go through this in more detail as the presentation goes on. What's most important to you is how much am I spending and what am I getting in return? And just to give you an idea, this is for Brainsway TMS clients since 2021, we're at a cost per patient, a cost per acquisition of $496. Now I'm going to come back to this a little bit later, but what that means is every time we put out $496 into the universe, the metaverse, the advertising world, we are getting back a new client. And depending if you're Medicare or TRICARE, et cetera, obviously the reimbursement varies. But when people say to me, hey, Scott, what's the baseline of where I should be at? If you're at about $500 or more, or excuse me, if you're at about $500 cost per acquisition, that is the average. So some people are probably way higher, some people way lower, but here's a good baseline. So this would be a great slide to take a screenshot of, if you want to take a screenshot. Okay, so here is what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover how to fully maximize your lead generation in 2024. We are going to cover how to level up your team to increase patient retention and compliance. And finally, I'm going to show you guys how to buy back your time in your business by leveraging technology. And the whole idea, this is the last Tony concept I'll give you guys from today, is typically when you have a great idea and you see potential, what do? You take action, right? Okay, I love the idea of TMS, specifically deep TMS. I'm going to offer TMS to my patients to help people. You see the potential, you take an action. When you take an action and the action gets good results, it builds your belief. When you get the results from that, it fuels the potential to take more action, to get results, to build the belief, and so on and so on and so on. And it just keeps going and going and going. So I want you to, again, to take what we're going to learn today, to start to see the potential in it. And I encourage you to take action. Whether you work with a partner agency, this is what I'm going to share with you guys today. You guys can do all of this yourself. So let's frame this a little bit, right? Does this sound familiar? Some clinics we talk to, there's no current strategy to attract new patients to the practice. What about the current client base? They don't see or understand the value in deep TMS and what it can really do. Maybe you've ran a couple campaigns before, you posted on LinkedIn or Twitter or boosted a post, but there's no tracking or accountability. You can't really measure what that's actually done for you. And new patient acquisition, it's inconsistent. Some months are really good, lots of referrals. Some months, like the summer, it's hot out, people are going to the beach, the pool, and maybe business is a little bit down. And you want a true system that will help to solve for that. So with that said, another mandate of leadership, it's all about service. Service to others leads to greatness. And if you guys stay until the end, I'm going to show you how to get a few of our resources. Again, these are things that you can tactically implement in your business right away. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to give you our effective scheduling conversations cheat sheet. It's a script and it's a framework. So a script is word for word. A framework is following a formula. This is something that Dr. Karan and I developed. It really all just came from his brain, and we put it into an easy to digest format for you guys. As well as we're going to be giving away some ads from our library. So we took the best performing ads that we've run over the last, since the beginning, and we put it into a swipe file for you. So you guys can get the script, exactly what to say, the framework, and some exact ads and creative copy, exactly what to write, exactly what to say to get people knocking down your door. Does that sound good? Let me know in the chat if that sounds good to you guys, and I'd be happy to give it. Linwood, New Jersey, lots of New Jersey people. Thanks for being here, guys. Okay, so I'll give you a super brief history about Beyond Marketing. I started the company in 2017. Dr. Maui, yes, appreciate you. We work and consult with over 350 mental health clinics. Our 2023 stats, we reached 9.3 million people. We generated 97,000 leads, and directly attributable through our not our EHR, our CRM, we've helped over 8,800 people say yes to alternative mental health treatment. Not only do we specialize in TMS, but also ketamine as well. And the overview of our services, we offer a turnkey business curriculum, a marketing system, accountability. Down here, this is at the MAPS conference in Denver. I think someone said they're from Colorado here. We went to a concert. We are associated with the Ketamine Task Force, and I even got to meet Grant Cardone, for those of you who are familiar. And this was at ASKP3. I forget his name, Ross. I'm sorry. But if you've ever wondered what the inside of a Brainsway device looks like, this is what it looks like. Beyond Marketing, we're featured in Psychedelics Today, Yahoo Finance, Microdose with Brainsway, Psychology Today, ASKP3, Clinical TMS, MAPS, speaking at events. We're very out there in the public eye because we want to help people to get the treatment, and we want to help you grow. And the more we help you grow, the more we can grow as well. So, concept number one, how to fully maximize your lead generation in 2024. So first, let's look at the business cycle. I learned this concept when I was first starting my business back in 2016, 2017. And no matter what type of business you have, whether it's a mental health business, a laundromat, any business, they all have these 5 components. And whether or not you're aware of these things, these are factors at play in the success of your business every day. So first is lead generation. That is generating interest. So getting people who say, hey, I want to use your product or service. So next we have lead nurture. Lead nurture is all about building trust. Number 3 is we have conversion. That's where they actually transact with you, where there's actually a sale. Delivery, that is actually getting the service or the product what they're paying for. And then finally, upsell, retention, and referral, and that is ascending them up. How do you take somebody who's brand new and get them to refer and to stay for a long time? So now let's look at this a little bit more specifically as it relates to your deep TMS practice. So lead generation, what does that look like? Marketing, advertising, lead capture pages, referrals, SEO, blogs, lunch and learns, direct mail, Facebook, Google. These are all different ways that you can lead generate. Lead nurture. What does lead nurture look like? Email, SMS, events, using a CRM software, sending out newsletters, phone calls, videos, educational materials, AI concierge. So for example, lead nurture, right? Well, ascend, etc. Brainsway is doing a great job of lead nurturing you guys and helping you guys to become more successful by giving you access to tools like this. Next is conversion, patient enrollment, sales, transacting. What does the office workflow look like? The follow-ups, the prior authorizations, more follow-up. Delivery. So this is the actual service delivery of the TMS, of the ketamine. Again, what does the office workflow look like? What happens between appointments? How do we retain somebody for their full 36 treatment course, etc.? And then upsell, retention, referrals. So again, retaining through the treatment course, buying additional products or services, having a yoga program, having a supplement program that people can buy, getting reviews, getting referrals. This is all part of it. So this is one of these slides that I'd like for you to take a screenshot of and to, again, view your business through this perspective. So here's what most people think. Most people think, okay, I'm going to make a big investment in my career, in my business. I'm going to get a Brainsway device. I'm going to open a clinic. People are going to be lining up and it's going to be amazing. I got the device. I took delivery and then crickets. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Who can relate to this? This happened to me when I opened my business. Where are the clients to talk to? What is going on, right? And only after time did it, again, we start to realize this patient journey. So here's how we define the patient journey from a marketing standpoint. So number 1, awareness. We do that through branding, through videos, through blogs, through SEO. Then we run an ad to those people where we have a specific offer and the offer being request a free consultation or take an assessment to see if deep TMS could be a good fit for you. Then we capture the lead at that point. Once we do that, they go through this process and they get to number 3, scheduling. But something really important happens here, which is lead nurturing. When we schedule, we want to create a connection. We want to act fast with high energy. Then number 4, we use a questions framework to diagnose in the consult. Influence is about painting a better picture for tomorrow. And sometimes you need to amplify the pain in the present and to show them that a compelling future would be a lot better than their present state. We'll talk about that. And then number 5, conversion. We close the gap using what we call a value stack, enroll them into care, get them what they need. So this is what we do with our clients and help craft this patient journey with them. But first, the first core function is lead generation. So with lead generation, you always want to start with the end in mind. What is my outcome? This is a great question to prompt yourself, to prompt your team with. What is my outcome with this marketing campaign, with this patient interaction, with this phone call? With lead generation, you cannot create desire. You can only channel it. So there are already people who are out there who are depressed, who are frustrated, who are looking for a better way that they don't even know exists. So really what we want to do is just enter the conversation that is already occurring inside their mind. Again, this conversation already exists. We don't have to manufacture it. We just need to get our message in front of the right people at the right time. So what are some of the problems that are occurring in the life of your current avatar? Avatar meaning ideal client. One of the best, the godfather of direct response marketing, if you will, is a gentleman by the name of Dan Kennedy. And Dan Kennedy says, the marketers, the copywriters that do the best, they understand their customer the best. They do the most research. This is another good slide to take a screenshot of. So before you start any marketing effort, what you're going to want to do is create a customer avatar. Where do they get their information from? What are their goals? What are their values? What do they like? What's their age, their gender? What are their challenges? What are their goals, their desires, outcomes that they want? And when you get really, really clear and specific on this one type of person, Amy, Sarah, whatever you want to name her or him, there's actually hundreds, thousands of these people out there. So the more specifically that you can speak and define your avatar, the more closely it's going to relate to people who can fit into that avatar. Okay. So moving along, how can we lead generate? We can do Google Ads, Google Maps, website, Google in general, SEO, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn. Again, what is our clear benefit? Well, let's talk about an ad. So I want to run an ad on Instagram, right? 3 components of an ad that you want to keep at the forefront. So number 1 is your headline. Your headline is going to either be feature specific or benefit specific, depending on how far they are down in the funnel, meaning whether they're seeing your advertisement for the first time or whether this is, a retargeting ad. Next is your body copy. What is your body copy saying that is going to influence and persuade them to move through the process? And then finally, your creative. So your creative that just means the image or the video. I love video ads because a picture says 1,000 words, but a video will just tell you what it is. So I love to use video. And guess what? Brainsway provides a ton of great video content. So you don't have to be a movie producer to go make your own video content. They already have great video content that you could be using right now to help attract new patients to your business. Just make sure to be aware of different compliance for different platforms, what to say, what not to say, etc. So when you start to go to create your ad, I'm a big fan of frameworks. And 2 of my favorite timeless copywriting frameworks are PAS and PASTOR. So pass and pastor. So let's first take a look at pass. PASS stands for pain, agitate, solution. So I'll give you guys an example. Hey, are you tired of suffering from depression? Are you tired of taking Zoloft and Prozac and you feel like nothing's working? You've worked with a therapist and group therapy. You've even tried ketamine therapy, but still it hasn't eased the pain and you're wondering if it's worth it even more. Well, there's this thing called TMS, specifically Deep TMS, and Deep TMS has feature A, B, C, and D, and it's helping X amount of people in your area to discover relief. Boom. People take actions for two reasons. They're either moving away from pain or moving towards pleasure. And obviously, in the market that we're working in the mental health field, a lot of people are moving away from pain rather than towards pleasure. Looking at PASTOR. PASTOR is sort of the advanced version of PAST or PAS. So pain, amplify, solution, transformation, offer, response. Pain. Jody had been on antidepressants for 20 years. Amplify. She lost out on her cousin's wedding. She lost out on really feeling the joy of watching her children play in the park and do things that she loved. Solution. However, she actually came across an ad just like this on Instagram one day, and she learned about this new solution called Deep TMS. Transformation. She read about a woman named Sarah who went through Deep TMS and it completely changed her life. Offer. Now, at Super Clinic, we're making the same life-changing service available to you. Response. So if you want to learn more and see how this can help you to change, fill out the form below and someone from our care team will get back with you. That's just me ripping off the dome. I don't know if I would necessarily write that, but that's the idea, because people can really, when we talk about pain, if we're talking about you've tried Zoloft, you've tried this, etc., they already know that. They're already saying that inside their head. Amplify. They're already feeling that. So it's really key when people are first learning this for the first time, they think, I don't know if I want to say that, but no, that's how you're going to create that emotional response. And that's how you're going to get into rapport with them right away, because you're speaking their language. You're speaking their language. So another great slide to take a screenshot of. PASTOR and PASS, two of the best copywriting formulas that I use all the time in my business. So now that we have generated now that we've created the ad, we want to go to the landing page. So the ad will drive it to a landing page. And some of the key elements of a landing page are social proof. So testimonials of somebody who's been there, done that, has gotten the result. Authority. Dr. Smith. Tell me about Dr. Smith. What are his credentials? How long has he been in business? Here's the associations he's part of, etc. Covered by Medicare, covered by Aetna, Blue Cross, etc. About us. We are human, and here we're located here, XYZ. People buy from people. People do not buy from companies. It's always human to human. People buy from people. And then tracking, of course. This is how you measure it, which we're going to talk about today. Making sure your Facebook pixel, Google Tag Manager, all of that is set up. So now that the lead's been generated, now we need to nurture the lead. So the key to effective lead nurture is engagement. Once we have the lead, and what does that mean? Name, phone number, email, somebody who opts in, website, ad, etc. The key is we want to ask open-ended questions. So here's some of our favorite open-ended questions that we teach our clients how to ask. Another great slide to take a screenshot of. So how long have you had this condition? What have you tried in the past? Can you rate your condition on a scale of 1 to 10 for me? And what are you looking for in a treatment provider? When we ask these questions, we help to meet them where they're at. We help to enter their world. Because lead nurture is all about building trust. You're not entitled to trust. Trust must be earned. Now, here are some of my favorite ways to lead nurture. Number one is video content. Again, you can borrow the authority, expertise, the credibility that Brainsway has already provided to you just by being a Brainsway client. guides. So how to. Here is a nighttime routine or an evening routine to be able to wind down and de-stress from the day that you can use alongside your deep TMS treatment. Case studies. Here's Sarah. Here's Susan. Here's John. Here's all these people that went through our program and saw phenomenal results. And finally, just simply a conversation. So many people just want to be heard and be listened to. And when we don't give people enough time to do that, or we don't give people the time, it can make a difference in your conversion and therefore in the success of your business. So these are 4 really easy lead nurture wins that we implement in our business and we help to implement in our clients' businesses. So lead nurture is all about bringing people from cold to warm. And again, video content, guides, case studies, conversations. But there are some inherent challenges in lead nurture as well. So number 1, I don't have the manpower. Well, Scott, I have Sarah at the front desk and she's following up with patients and she's treatment coordinator and she's taking out the trash and she's doing this and doing that, I don't have the time. Part of the reason I don't have the time is because I don't have the manpower. And I don't have the expertise. I don't know how to write an ebook. I don't know how to script out a video. So these are some of the inherent challenges that exist in lead nurture. But timing is so important. And in fact, the Harvard Business Review did a study on how quickly online leads go cold. And they determined that firms that try to contact potential customers within an hour were 7 times more likely to have a conversion. Even an hour later, more than 60 times as likely than companies that waited 24 hours. 60 times, not 7. Here's where I got the number 7 from. So what does this mean? What does this tell you? The quicker you follow up, the higher chance you have at nurturing that lead successfully, having that conversation, and then moving them through the 5 core functions of the business that we talked about earlier. So here's how we design our conversations. Number 1, we ask about and clarify the condition. Number 2, we ask them to give themselves a rating. Number 3, we ask what solutions they've tried in the past. Number 4, we'll give some more additional information about the clinic. We'll ask permission if they'd like to schedule a consultation. And then number 5, we'll go ahead and schedule the conversation. So one of the things we've done, because we realize people don't have the time, is we actually built an AI that does this for you. And so this is how we programmed the AIs to go through these objectives throughout the conversation. Concept number 2, and this is where I get to hand it off to the man who makes me look smart, Dr. Karan. How to level up your team to increase patient retention and compliance. Let me just tell you guys briefly about Dr. Karan. He's the medical director of the Wellness Academy, and he's the former CEO and medical director of TMS Advantage. He built and exited a 7-figure psych business with 4 chairs. He's treated over 500 patients in a 4-year period. He developed the Art of the Consult, which is our education component to our business. And he is an all-around phenomenal human being. And I'm so grateful to have him part of the Beyond Marketing team. With that said, Dr. Karan, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate the kind words, and it's a real pleasure to be here. Thank everybody for joining us today. Everything that Scott's saying, I really appreciate and resonate with, and it's a testament to the work that we've seen our clients do when it comes to patient enrollment, patient conversion, and patient retention. With that said, let me do my screen share as well, and we can take it from there. All right, we're good to go.
Yes.
All right. So with that said, and Scott, just making sure I have the automations come up here, making sure there's no concerns there. All right.
Yep.
All right.
There you go.
Oh, guys, there we go. Thank you. So first off, I want to talk about why we're focusing on patient enrollment. There's a couple of things to emphasize based off what Scott's talking about as why providers are having a tough time getting patients in. And there's a certain, sentiment that I have in this space and in this field with my experience that I've seen a lot of providers talk about. I've talked to multiple hundreds of TMS providers and clinics across the country in the last over the last year and a half, especially colleagues in the space that I've had a pleasure of working with directly. And I've understood one thing, that a lot of us feel this way, and we shouldn't. And what that is just because you offer a mental health service doesn't mean patients should walk through your door. Why should you be provider of choice? What is it about you or your practice that sets you apart from the competition? What exactly, from a patient standpoint, aka a consumer standpoint, is going to give that patient or consumer the conviction and confidence to choose you as a provider of choice? So with that said, we have to develop a foundation of trust. And what that means is we have to set the tone for the entire patient-provider relationship. From the moment the patient reaches out to you or sees your office or your practice from a digital standpoint, or reaching out to your office through some sort of form of contact, or actually physically coming into your office, from point A to point Z, we have to set the tone for the entire patient-provider relationship. And what's interesting is within the first initial interaction, that is when you have the best chance to make the best impression. We all know that. It's the first hour or first 24-hour period where you can really, create that foundation of trust, but also set the tone for the entire patient-provider relationship. And with that said, we're focusing on patient enrollment again because we want to provide increased access to care. We want to improve patient outcomes. We want to be sustainable and be able to grow. We want to have a communal impact in our local community. So these things are very, very important. What else do we want or we're looking for in terms of why we focus on patient enrollment? Well, we want to be able to be a gateway to success. In order to do that, one of the things that I've always talked about is, having a protocol or SOP in place to give you that chance to be the gateway of success, but also a seamless intake process that acts as the gateway to success in a mental health practice. And a seamless intake process, I know it sounds kind of easy to formulate what that looks like in your head, but the reality is when a patient reaches out to you, unsure about what they need, and unsure about what TMS is, unsure about whether or not they really have depression or this is something they're just experiencing because of their mood that they're currently in, because a lot of mental health patients aren't necessarily confirmed or confident in what's going on with them, and they're looking to you as to somebody to confirm what's going on and what they need to do. That intake process, that seamless process, needs to encompass that. So when we talk about a seamless intake process, we're talking about a two-way relationship. We're talking about educating the patient, nurturing the patient, nourishing their needs in terms of what they need to know. It is not just, hi, this is TMS Clinic. Yes, we offer treatment. Do you want to come in and get scheduled? That's not seamless. That's having a lot of gaps. When I say seamless, I'm talking about making sure whoever answers or represents your office, because they're the front door, they are the first impression the patient gets of your clinic, to make sure that everything from that front door is welcoming, is warm, is enticing for that patient to walk through that door and see your beautiful office, to meet your beautiful team, and want to work with you. So a seamless intake process means making sure information is readily available, making sure that appointment availability is there, making sure that there is some element of education, and multiple other factors. I use this discussion all the time about the ACA analogy that I have, which is not the Affordable Care Act, but I'm talking about accommodations, convenience, and accessibility. If you can hit those three, talking points in the first couple of minutes when you're talking to a client or a patient, you have a seamless process in place, and it really helps you focus on best practices for patient enrollment. And that first impression, we know how important that first impression is. I can tell you from experience, one of the things I've done with Beyond Marketing as medical director and education director is secret shop some of our clients to see exactly what are the weaknesses or deficits that we have on the front door end, what's going on there. And a lot of times that first impression that I get from some clients I've talked to some providers I've talked to, when I call their office as a secret patient, is that we are not giving the best first impression. If you're an amazing clinician, if you have amazing response rates, if you do something very comprehensively, we're not talking about that, that is a disservice to you as provider of choice. So I really want to give you the emphasis on making sure that we do that well and do it consistently. It's the first impression patients have of your practice. So with that said, let's go into our next slide. Why patient enrollment best practices matter? Well, first off, the patient experience can influence the overall patient experience. And what does that really mean? The patient experience that they're having is not just a clinical experience, it's also the operational administrative experience that patient's having. And that can influence that patient's outcomes. We know there's a placebo effect for some patients when they come into your office from just being around people, having some sort of interaction, having a routine. That does help some of our patients' outcomes. With TMS, personally speaking, I've seen that happen. So I want to make sure that we understand that patient experience can influence the overall patient experience clinically and operationally. And when treatment begins, that directly impacts the likelihood of patient conversions. So just understand that when we start treatment, and the time from when a patient reaches out to you, from the time when a patient actually starts treatment, that cannot be a long range of time. We're talking no more than 24 to 72 hours, ideally speaking. In some cases, insurance is our barrier to entry, but these days with TMS, we know insurance coverage is available, widely available, and getting insurance approvals, it doesn't take as long as it used to from when I was doing TMS. So I can tell you that that time frame has been reduced. So it's important to understand what happens in terms of when treatment begins and when and versus when a patient reaches out to you. In addition to this, we notice this is important because 21% of adults are experiencing at least one mental illness. So 1 out of 5 adults are experiencing one mental illness. What this means is our patient enrollment best practices can really be effective because the population is out there. 55% of adults with a mental illness have not received any treatment. So again, best practices when it comes to patient enrollment really matter because the people that we're looking to help are out there. And over 12.1 million adults, or 4.8% of them, have reported serious thoughts of suicide. So the sense of urgency is now more than ever. So we know that we are at a very crucial point in history in mental health treatment outcomes, be able to provide the right access to care and focusing on best practices. Now, how do we optimize our intake procedures? Well, I don't want to sell you the whole idea here. Just want to give you a little bit of the sizzle here. There's the key strategies for seamless intake in terms of optimizing your intake procedures. Start with addressing patient concerns. TMS is not still widely understood. We've only scratched, in my opinion, I would say 10 to 12% of the TMS market that's out there. And as far as awareness goes, I would say it's even less. So clear communication, ensuring transparent communication about the intake process is extremely helpful. Understanding for a patient to understand that, from the moment you talk to us, the moment we get your information, the moment we do a consultation or meet with a provider, here's what's going to happen. Here are your different touch points in the choreography of your journey with us. That needs to be clearly communicated. We also have to be able to provide different facts, different resources, FAQs, provide a comprehensive FAQ section and resources to address common concerns. Yes, will TMS be painful? I love providers that say, yes, it can be discomforting. I hate the ones that say it's not, because it is something that can be mildly discomforting. Let's talk about that. The more honest you are, the more trust you'll gain from that patient. At the same time, talk about the efficacy. What is the efficacy of psychiatric medications, first time, second line, and third line, comparative to TMS? Now, I'm not saying TMS is a cure or a silver bullet here, but from efficacy measures, we know which one has a superior response. Let's talk about that, especially if your office has clinical data you can share, right? And then setting clear expectations, making sure there's a step-by-step guidance that clearly outlines the steps involved in the intake process. The more the patient knows, the more convicted they are to follow through, to be compliant, and to be retained. Now, what else can we do to optimize the intake procedures? Talking about timelines. At this point in your treatment, we do notice that some patients between weeks 4 and 5 have a noticeable response to treatment. At this point in your treatment, we will do a remapping or redetermination of your motor threshold. At this point, we will have your psychiatrist meet with you, not just once like the other clinics that have a psychiatrist talk to you one time and that's it. We have a program where our providers are actually working directly with you and communicate these expected timelines and building that trust from the start. A warm welcome, creating a welcoming atmosphere from the first contact to professionalism, demonstrating professionalism and empathy in all interactions, and making sure that we are focusing on best practices. Now, the art of patient conversion is something specific in terms of what we have to do. We talked about clear communication, right? Maintaining clear communication, providers can proactively address these concerns, ease any anxieties, and build confidence in the process. And what we do with the FAQs is we're giving that information, that communication channel in a readily available set of frequently asked questions that are not very cliche or standard, that are more nuanced about what you do. So if your TMS program offers some sort of psychotherapy, some sort of yoga, some sort of monitoring of patients' psychosocial activities, let's talk about that. We want to empower patients to find answers independently, but also use us as a resource. And this is a picture of one of my TMS practices, the office that we had. We designed it in such a way where you can have loved ones come in. We can watch something that's educational and helpful to gain that momentum in terms of what gives our patients a chance to, have the strongest outcomes. Now, when it comes to the art of patient conversion, again, we also understand the importance of choreography and timeline, because again, we have to give the patient a journey or a map of what's going to happen. We have to help them understand the touch points to optimize the choreography of all interactions, because talking about treatment for 6 to 8 weeks is a long time. Let them understand that if you can invest this much time with us, we can give you this much time of your life back potentially. And also the alternative, if you want to go and try another medication, that's fine, understandable. But here's the reality. By the time the medication even kicks in, you could have already finished a course of TMS. So the patient journey mapping is really important, so the patient understands why you're investing this time into this treatment. And timely communication, again, enhancing engagement, foster a sense of progress, doing follow-ups, making sure even during the course of treatment, we're checking in where patients are in terms of response rates. When a patient concludes treatment, what that follow-up process is like. Everybody should have one, right? This is something we all know. And virtual engagement, this is so important. Leverage virtual platforms for initial consultations. It's a convenient and accessible entry point. As Scott mentioned, the power of social media, something that I'm really, really big on is provider-facing content and patient perspective content. We know there's lots of ads out there and marketing materials that talk about you deserve better, get your life back. We all know that. Everyone deserves to feel better. But the reality is, I want to know why you are somebody I should come to. What exactly is about your office that stands out compared to the rest of the providers that do TMS? And why should I come in for a consultation? You know what? Give me a window into your office, and I'm happy to come into your office as a potential patient. This is about the art of patient conversion, as well as providing educational content such as webinars, articles, videos that resonate with what the patient's looking for, and showcasing your expertise and building credibility. Now, driving conversion from contact to treatment, it's a guided progression. I do want to emphasize that we do have a limited window to do this. So we do it consistently, we do it well. We are able to design a patient journey that guides individuals seamlessly from the initial contact through treatment initiation. We also know that there's strategic touch points that need to be talked about. This is when we may have a noticeable activation, or you may feel like your depression could be potentially getting worse, but that's actually not what's happening, and what that means, because this can reinforce a decision to pursue treatment, because now you're giving them the full scope and being fully transparent on what the treatment can do for them. TMS can be very activating, and some clients or patients may read something on a forum and say, wow, this sounds like this is pretty intense. Well, let me explain what your brain's going through, right? Depression's a muscle memory. We're trying to practice the idea of not being depressed and getting better at being happier. So sometimes with that, there's a tug of war battle in your brain, because the brain's very stubborn, right? Talking about those different touch points along with that journey can really be helpful. And then empowering choices, making sure we offer patients choices and information, and empowering them to make informed decisions about their mental health journey. This is also very important. And we know patients have that process of denial, doubt, acceptance that can occur, right? They might first say to you, I don't know if I want to do this. This is a bunch of brainwashing. This is not going to work. It sounds like shock therapy. Well, actually, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to, benefit from it. But during that process, if we can give somebody the conviction through education, through resources, through a window into your office, and what you guys do well as providers and a clinical care team, we can have that acceptance, we can have that control. We still may have certain doubts, but that's part of the patient journey, and that's really important to remember. Now, elements of a patient-centric experience, I want to emphasize personalized care plans. A lot of clients and providers I've talked to, a lot of physicians out there say we have customized protocols or customized TMS. What does that really mean? Let the patient understand what that really means. If you do EEG testing, functional MRIs, whatever you do, individualized psychotherapy, talk about it. Emphasize that as a value add, making sure that responsive communication is also part of that patient-centric experience from a standpoint of fostering an environment of open and responsive communication, making patients feel heard and valued. Stuff you guys already know, right? And then collaborative decision-making. We have to make sure that we are letting the patients make a decision, but this is a team effort. We're in this together. Let me help you figure out what are the next steps, and making sure when a patient concludes treatment that we also give them some sort of collaborative decision-making process as well, because you promote a sense of ownership in that patient's mental health journey. Now, getting the long-term buy-in, we have to understand there has to be consistent support. And what that means is we have to provide educational resources. We have to have a holistic approach. We have to have feedback mechanisms. We have to have flexible scheduling, and we have to have technology integration, especially these days. So when we're talking about these specifically, consistent support, I'm talking about doing something beyond the treatment sessions, reinforcing a sense of therapeutic alliance. We're talking about feedback mechanisms. I'm talking about understanding patient experiences, addressing concerns promptly, and continuously improving what you do, right? And then we're also talking about offering ongoing education and resources when it comes to educational resources to empower patients in managing their mental health. In addition to that, when we're looking at the technology integration, explore innovative technologies for remote support, teletherapy, mental health apps, as well as utilization of social media, and then flexible scheduling. TMS is not, come in every day at the same time. It can be moved around if needed, because again, these patients, they have lives, they have jobs, they have families. So let's be flexible in what we offer. And the holistic approach is by integrating complementary therapies and wellness practices for mental health services. These are very, 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 very important in terms of a long-term process. So with that said, I'd like to pass it over back to Scott. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We really appreciate you.
Dr. Karan, you are fabulous. Thank you so much. If you can unshare your screen, I just started sharing mine. Can everyone see? Why?
Yep, should be all good to go.
Okay, perfect. So this is Shelly Valia from Bright Horizons Psychiatry. She says the expertise from Karan is superb. Right after each call, he provides detailed notes and feedback about what you spoke about. They offer tutorials and websites at your fingertips to help your business improve. So that is just a taste of what you can get in working with a true expert, someone who's in the field doing it like Dr. Karan. And that's exactly why we decided to team up. So I know we've only got a few more minutes left. Is my screen grayed out? Can you guys see that? Or no?
You can see everything checks out.
Okay, perfect. So the third concept, I'm going to blaze through this, guys, because I want to give you a chance to ask questions, is all about leverage in your business, buying back time in your business by leveraging technology. So here's what most offices do. They have several people at the front desk. One likes to do sticky notes, one likes to do email, and then this person is juggling between the two. And then we've got another person who loves, I'm going to do Google spreadsheets to keep track of leads and everyone. And then we have a third person who says, no, we need phone calls and notes, because notes goes from your Mac to your app to your phone. And then you have 3 different people doing 3 different things or 5 different things, and it's crazy. And then all of a sudden, there's a breakdown and you need to get organized. Who can relate to this in their business, that sometimes there is just chaos?
Oh, yeah.
Literally my business. But you got to get organized, right? And so the big problem when you do this is okay when you start out, right? You're testing different things and you're figuring out, okay, what's going to work best for me? But the process is variable. Karan, can you mute yourself? Sorry. Thank you. When you have a variable process, that presents a big problem, because there's no way to have consistent measurability. So if Jessica likes sticky notes and Sam likes emails, this makes measurement nearly impossible. When everything is ambiguous, there's no way to measure it. You really need a system. And depending on your ambitions and how far and big you want to take this, when you're looking at scaling your business, the business itself needs to be duplicatable. And so that's why we use tools. Darren Hardy, he's the CEO of Success Magazine. He says, when your mouth is moving, your finger needs to be pointing. So one of the tools we love to use is a CRM tool. Now, you may have heard of a CRM software before. A CRM is an essential tool to manage your customer relationships. It stands for Customer Relationship Management Tool. So the functions of a CRM, by the way, before functions, a few ones you've probably heard of: Salesforce, Pipedrive, HubSpot, and Move. We use Move. Main function of a CRM is to bridge the gap between the lead generation and the conversion. This is your lead nurture machine. This is where you can send out the videos, the guides, have the conversations. CRMs allow you to segment a list. Did they come in for ketamine, for deep TMS? Were they a referral? It allows you to send emails, make phone calls, do scheduling, do marketing automations, have appointment reminders, post social media, visualize data, have a pipeline to see what's happening in your business, and much, 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 much more. So the CRM, how you want to think of it, it's the non-human component of your business. And speaking about non-human, I alluded to it a bit earlier. This guy, his name is Peter Diamandis. He's a futurist. He's a New York Times bestselling author, and he has a huge focus on AI. He writes the book, The Future is Faster Than You Think. And I found this tweet the other day. I found it really hilarious. He says, by the end of the decade, there will be two kinds of companies, those who fully utilize AI and those who are out of business. So you want to start, your job as the business owner is, how can I innovate? How can I grow my enterprise? And AI is a great tool that you can leverage to be able to do that, especially when it integrates with your CRM. So CRMs also give you optics and give you clarity into your business. Business is math. You've got to know your cost per lead, your cost per schedule, your cost per acquisition. What does it cost you to acquire a patient? And what is your overall ROI, your return on investment? Because what you measure gets improved, and you have to be focused about this. I know some of you guys are probably entrepreneurs who hire doctors, and some of you guys are the doctor who is wearing the role of entrepreneur. And you have to have a proper balancing act between the two. But you must direct your focus on the numbers when you're looking at this part of your business. Make the decision to get serious about this. And so I love data. Obviously, with marketing, you get to be really creative, but there's also a data-driven side of it. So looking at this $322,000 in spend, our cost per lead was about $20. We booked 1,300 consults. So now guess what? We know our cost per consult. Our cost per consult is $236. From these consults, from these 1,300, 990 moved into appointments or billable events. That's a 72% booking rate. And that is costing us $326. And finally, from that 990, 650 moved into patients, which brings our cost per acquisition, as we talked about earlier, to about $500. So here's Dr. Sam Zand. He's the Chief Medical Officer of Better You. They're a big, they do a lot of ketamine treatment and also TMS in their offices. He says, we started our Better You practice through the support of Scott and the marketing that they've done. So I'm a testimony to his work. There's a lot of gaps they're able to fill, and having both consultation, marketing, and their CRM has really helped us streamline things in many ways. And Piper Bursmeyer, TMS Northwest, says this year, when I compare last September and October to this year, we're more than double our actual and kept intake appointments. So make no mistake, this is challenging. Building, running, driving a business forward towards success, helping people, it's hard. But when you have the right tools, when you have the right lead generation, the right business development, and the right software and technology, it can make your journey that much easier. So let me ask you guys a question. How many people feel a little bit like this right now? And it's okay if you do, because this is how I felt when I got started with everything and realized how much is entailed. So in going through this presentation, I gave you a few frames through which to view this through. And now you really have three options. Number one, you could say, wow, that was great. I didn't have anything to do on my lunch break, so here I was. Option number one, I'm going to do nothing. I don't recommend this option. Option number two, this is something that you can implement on your own. We prompted you guys on a few slides to take screenshots of, implement everything you learned here independently, figure out a lead management system, a training system. We gave you some good examples of tools. Hire an outside consultant that may not understand the business and dedicate time to listen to staff phone calls, help course correct, help give feedback, et cetera, et cetera. That's option number two. Option number three, you can implement this with a partner or a growth partner, as we like to say. I'm going to pop something in the chat here, share now. So I just popped this up here, guys. like I mentioned, we're giving away our TMS leverage swipe file for free. And you can get this for free by booking a strategy session with us. We're not selling anything on this strategy session. You'll get to meet with our team, probably Justin, where he'll be able to walk through your business, to speak with you, to understand where you're at in the business cycle. We talked about the 5 stages, where you're most strong in your lead generation, lead nurture, conversion, delivery, and retention. And from there, figure out a plan with you. And guess what the plan might be? The plan might be, hey, we're good. We're rocking. We've got the tools from you. Thanks so much. See you later. So we're giving these tools away. As soon as you book, by the way, you're going to get an email that's going to go out to you with these tools. So this is something that you guys can start to implement today. And obviously you guys got to see a really a good 2 sides of the same coin from myself and from Karan, which is why we love this growth partner program, to be able to complement both the business development side that he understands really well, and both the acquisition, the digital side that I understand really well. So with that said, let's go ahead and open it up for questions. Again, this we're giving away totally for free. When you schedule a call, you're going to get an email, and the email is going to have a link to a Google Drive, which is going to have these tools. Let me see if okay, yes. Inside the swipe file, it's going to look like this. Here's the script and framework. We have our top ad copy right here, and then we have our top creative right here. So these are images that you could just go ahead and use in your advertising efforts. And then lastly, we didn't have time to talk about this today, but this is in here as well. So this is literally how you can run the numbers yourself and figure out how much revenue was lost. And if you want to figure out how much was gained, it's just the opposite of this. So anyways, with that said, I want to open it up to questions. Thank you everyone for participating in the chat today. If you have any questions, please type them now. Okay, we've got Robert. Robert says, do you see a lot of variance in ROAS depending on a client's geographical area? If so, how do you have data for specific geographic regions that might be more competitive? Robert, great question. So Robert has probably done this before. For those who don't know, ROAS is return on ad spend. There's an incredible amount of variability to answer your question. For example, advertising in California and Colorado, for example, and New York is just really expensive. Why? Well, there are a lot of advertisers who are competing for the eyeballs that you and I are competing with when we try to put this message in front of them. Hey, TMS is great. So there is lots of variability. The areas I just named are areas that I know where, we can run an ad with the same strategy. And, it's way more expensive in those markets. So yes, answer it live. That's a great question. I super appreciate that, Robert. Other questions, do not be shy. Oops.
And Scott, just to touch on Robert's talking point there, the densely populated areas in the country, aside from California, New York, and Colorado, I can tell from a competitive landscape, the cost of marketing does go up. If there's TMS providers within a certain mile radius around you, that will, in certain cases require you to go above and beyond in terms of ad spend, but also in creating more visibility. So not just how much money you spend on ads, but how much you do in terms of leveraging your community, in terms of partnerships, referral sources, getting out there and in the trenches and making sure the community knows who you are. So not just from a money standpoint does it cost more, but also time. So that's something that I've seen our clients have to go through as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, you guys can hear me now?
Yes, you can.
All right, great. Well, I want to thank you guys, Scott and Dr. Narwal, and thank you for everyone for joining us. You'll receive an automatic link by email to this recording. And please, if you think of any other questions that didn't get answered, shoot us an email at deeptms@brainsway.com, or you can, of course, book a consultation with the Beyond Marketing folks. But we look forward to seeing you on future webinars, and take care.
Thank you guys so much. Super appreciate it. Thank you, Ross. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Pleasure.